Check, check.
Good morning, everyone. Well, you're awake today. That's great. It's good to see you. I know this is a little out of our regular rhythm. We don't usually meet in here on Tuesdays, um, but we just have a really wonderful guest with us who we wanted to be able to give him space to share with us as an entire school body. If you were able to come last night, you heard Pastor Garland speak about his involvement with, how do I put this? Learning, being transformed by what it means to walk alongside those who are immigrants and refugees within our country. Through an evening of rich storytelling, we were reminded of that holy ground. And we are really excited, Pastor Garland, to have you here today to share some more with us. I would also encourage you to watch the live stream of last night if you can. Highly recommended. So let's open with a word of prayer and then we will give you the mic. God, we are grateful for the gift of pause, to take time to listen differently, to sit differently, to hear another voice, and to see what we can learn from another part of our country, another part of our body. Please open our minds, open our hearts, and open our ears. Amen.
It's really good to be on campus. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. So early yesterday, I left Texas and came here to the beautiful Shenandoah Valley and was able to come on this campus. And I've been so really, really impressed. When I got onto campus yesterday evening, the girls' soccer team was playing against some local powerhouse. And I walked on the campus in the final seconds. Y'all scored a goal to tie the game. There was a sophomore. Who scored the goal? Who is the goal scorer right over here? A sophomore? That's very, very impressive. And I also heard that an eighth grader scored in the game. Is the eighth grader here? The eighth graders, you scored at the end of the game? Where's the sophomore who scored the goal? I'm really, really impressed. And then I also really enjoyed after the lecture last night, I got to hear a little bit from Fatima and Fancy about their story, and Val asked some really good questions. And then I was listening to Martha talk about the way you all are preparing 25,000 meals. I had to get the number right a couple of times. 25,000 meals that you as a student body are preparing. And then also, I'm in Texas, but I told people I was coming to the Shenandoah Valley and I was gonna come to your high school. And everyone I talked to is like, oh, that school is legit. And they told me stories about people they knew who went to this high school, and they talked about the choir, and they talked about your theater, and they talked about the rich history of this place, and also the beautiful potential that everyone recognizes. It's sometimes hard to see that when you're in middle school, when you're in high school, but just hear me say, feel really honored to hang out with y'all and see this campus and see you. I want to share something that I wish someone had clearly told me when I was your age. I wish that I had had this laid out for me. But I say this because your voice, your specific voice, as we grew up in Harrisonburg and we went to this particular school, your voice is exceedingly important and valuable for our world. And I want to say specifically for the church in America, your voice is so, so important. You are coming from rich, fertile ground. You are not stunned by someone associating Jesus with reconciliation. You are not surprised when someone talks about conscientious objection and the way of peace. And your voice, because of who you are and where you're coming from, is very, very important. So I want to share this thing that I just wish it had been very clear for me when I was your age. If you are going to influence the world, and let me say, your influence on this world is so needed. But there's all these different formulas we have for influencing. Like, how do you influence? How do you change people's minds? How do you change the world? If you go on social media, there's actually an algorithm. If you want to be an influencer, you need to follow this algorithm. If you read the local news, there is a way to get policies passed in this community. If you want to go into politics, there is a formula for being a successful politician. There is an entire economy around insulting and debating and winning and grabbing people's attention and selling and marketing. There's all of these different ways that you can influence. And I want to talk about the way that I hope you all influence the world. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, in a small church, 150 people in downtown San Antonio. We have done a lot of work with immigration. We've hosted many people who are coming up across the border. And not long ago, there was a mega church pastor, mega church as in thousands of people in his church, 5 different auditorium-filling worship services on a Sunday. He had the number 2 podcast at the time in the country. This megachurch pastor invited me to debate about immigration. I was like, do you have the right phone number? You're talking to you know who I am? He's like, yeah, bro, what I want you to do is you're gonna come up here, we're gonna have a debate. It's gonna be dope. I was like, it's gonna be what? This guy is 6'8", muscly man model. And he's a superstar in Houston. And he was inviting me to debate about immigration. And no joke, the title he had given the debate was, Does Jesus love, I'm gonna say a bad word, does Jesus love illegals? I never use that word. No human is illegal. This was the name of the debate. And so what would you do if you're invited to a debate in front of 1,000 people with a man model who's 6'8" and super hot? I was like, okay, I'll show up. That's fine. So I was like, well, what do you do? How do you win a debate? Will I be able to change the minds of this dude and all of the people who are a part of his church? This church was responsible for giving many, many, many thousands of dollars to the Trump campaign, probably millions. Really, really wealthy church. He invited me to the debate. So I was like, well, how am I going to win this debate? What did Jesus do when he was challenged with debates? Hard questions come at Jesus. Jesus always responded with better questions. So I was like, well, what are the questions he's going to ask me? Well, it's always the same questions. When people are afraid of something, they always ask the same 3 questions. The first question is something like, isn't everything falling apart? Aren't we a nation of borders? They'll say something like that. I'm afraid, and so the first fear is everything is falling apart. Second fear is we don't have enough resources. We don't have enough to even take care of ourselves. How can we take care of them? If someone's afraid, they'll first say everything's falling apart, then they'll next say we don't have enough resources. And the third question is always something like, how will I change? How is this affecting me? How is this changing me? So I thought about these 3 questions. I know Hot Bro is going to ask me one of these 3 questions or all 3 of these questions in different formats. All I need to do is ask better questions. So I showed up to this debate ready to ask just better. That's a good strategy, by the way. Someone asks you a hard question, just ask a better Christ-centered, kingdom-centered question. Let me tell you, this is not the way. There's this, you all have studied the Gospel of John, or you're going to study the Gospel of John later on in high school. It is dense, it is beautiful, it is mystical. You remember that it begins with this beautiful poem about the Word, and the Word becomes flesh. The Word was with God, the Word was God, the Word becomes flesh, it incarnates. It's this beautiful, beautiful poem, and it says, when the Word became flesh, when the Word came and tabernacled with us, tented with us, when the Word came and dwelt with us, it came in truth and grace. It came in truth, something we can see and know and love and be awed by, and grace, which is a relationship. It came in truth and grace. So I was kind of struck by this. Like, am I showing up in truth and grace? Am I participating in truth and grace, or am I just trying to win? Or am I showing up in truth and grace? And then the Gospel of John continues. Right after this poem, there is a story about racism. Right there in the very first chapter of John. There is Philip. Philip is super excited about having met Jesus. Philip knows who Jesus is almost immediately. This is the one. This is the Messiah. This is the anointed. This is the one who is going to lead us to liberation. Philip knows who this is. He goes to his buddy, maybe his cousin, Nathaniel. He's like, Nathaniel, this is it. You've got, Nathaniel, we have found the one. And Nathaniel says the very first racist of many racist comments in the gospel. He says, Where's he from? Nothing good comes from there. No one who talks like that, no one who looks like that, nothing good comes from there. This is what Nathanael says in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, to Philip. Nothing good comes from, our president has said similar things. Nothing good comes from there. They are trash. This is what Nathanael says. Does Jesus love the illegal? Nathanael will be like, nope, clearly not. Would a Messiah come from there? No, clearly not. What does Philip do? How does he debate? How does he respond to that? Now, what you are going to be tempted to do is stand up on your pedestal and tell Nathanael how stupid he is. You are wrong, and let me explain to you why you are wrong. You are also a bigot, and you are also ignorant. And also, by the way, Nathanael, no one even likes you. Right? Like that's what you want to do. That's what we are tempted to do. That's what social media does. That's what politicians do. Here is an opportunity. He has exposed himself, and he is in a weak position. Now you can pounce, and now you can prove that you are right and he is wrong. We will all be tempted, because you know what Mennonites are? Mennonites are right, and the world is wrong. It's just very clear. But so we are going to be tempted to model ourselves after the world and be right because they are wrong. This is not what Philip does. When the word comes and it is incarnated, it comes in truth and it comes in grace. Philip says to Nathanael, come and see. That's all he said. Come and see. This is a phrase used throughout the Gospel of John. This is the first time it's used. Philip says, come and see. That implies a number of things. First and foremost and most important is, I'm going. I'm participating in something awesome. And I'm inviting you. Here's a really important formula. Truth and grace. Tell true stories about real people. That's all you need to do. Tell true stories about real people, and then model good behavior. Truth, grace. Tell a true story. You don't need to make it up. And then model good behavior. I'm doing this. You can join me. Come and see, Philip says. We are going to be tempted in so many ways to win and to prove that we are smarter than the 6'8" muscly male model who's got thousands of people following. But all we need to do is the discipline of truth and grace. Just tell a true story and model good behavior. You know what I did when I got to that big old church? They had smoke machines and they had lights. Someone was like, you want me to do your makeup? I was like, what? He's like, the lights? I don't know. You don't look great. I was like, come on. I sat up there on the chair and the debate began and they were filming like from multiple angles. And it was like, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching online. It's good to have you. I was like, where am I? And we began the debate. And he asked me the questions. And I knew what the questions were. It's always, if someone is afraid, they always ask the same 3 questions. And the way I responded was I told a true story about a real person. That reminds me. It's a great question. That reminds me of a mama that we received a couple weeks ago. Let me tell you her story. And then I modeled good behavior. And this is what Ramona in our church did in response to her story. This is what Greg did when he met this guy. Can I tell you the story of Eduardo, who came from Guatemala, and I told the story. I just told true stories about real people, and I modeled good behavior. He's like, bro, but I've got a question, dude. where do you stand on, and I said this is the one line that I got in. I was like, I don't think Jesus cares where I stand. Jesus cares who I walk with. That was a good line. That's a pretty good line, right? I was like, oh, I didn't plan that out. I was like, that's pretty good. All I did, though, that was significant was to tell true stories and to model good behavior. It wasn't always my behavior. It was the behavior of people. It's just come and see. Come and see. I am participating in something rad, and I'm inviting you to participate in it too. At the end of the debate, do you know what happened? This guy comes up to me with like a really nice jacket and slacks. He's got like slicked back gray hair. He's like, good to meet you, Pastor. He introduced himself. He's like, I want you to know that I am one of the largest donors to the Trump campaign here in Houston. I had no idea that these stories of faith were so real. And I later found out that this guy gave $1 million to fund a documentary about the faith journeys of the immigrants who are crossing our border. Who has that kind of money? He gave $1 million to, and it was directed by one of the former women who worked with Oprah. And they came to our church with their fancy cameras, and they didn't really want to talk to me. They just wanted to record the faith stories, the stories of miracle, the stories of beauty, the stories of God's deliverance in these families' lives. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't try and win that debate. I'm so glad that I didn't try and prove myself. All we need to do in this world, and let me reiterate how important your voices are and how desperately our world needs courageous voices of peace and love. And they are going to come from you. When they do come from you, just remember Philip. Just remember that discipline. It's not about you. All you have to do is say, come and see. You're participating in something wonderful, and you can invite people. Now, I want to quickly, it's 10:19. So I think the bell's going to go off in about 1 minute. Did you want to say something? This is Martha, and she's gonna share something really rad about a meeting today at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock. All right. Tell them.
Thank you so much. My name's Martha, and our Rise Against Hunger event is tomorrow at 3:15. There's 2 shifts, one that starts at 3:15 and one that starts at 5. We would love for you guys to come. I know a lot of you have already signed up, but if you haven't signed up yet, it's not too late. There's posters in the hall you can scan after school when you have your phone. And in the library, there are little flyers that you can take home with a QR code to sign up. So if you haven't signed up already, we'd love to have you come. Thank you.
Don't be late to class. Thank you all so much for sharing your campus. Thank you for who you are. Peace and blessings and shalom. Thank you so much.